I'm going to walk you through the process of creating data tables. This is something that engineers do all the time. It's a matter of creating an efficient presentation of your data in a way that's easily comprehensible to the readers. All right, so imagine you get raw data. This may be coming out of a database, out of Excel. It could be coming from any particular source. You see, in this case, we have 5 different data types, and they're each, in this case, type, beam height, flange width, weight, cross-section area. So these are actually descriptions of beams that you might have, say, from a catalog of different beams that would be used in a building construction. So it has the type, the data type, and then it has the actual data element. So it's IP80, 80. So in other words, it has a beam height of 80, flange width 46, weight in kilograms per meter of 6.0, and a cross-section area 7.64. That's our first data element. That would essentially be like the first row of the data, second row of the data, third row of the data. But this is not an easy way to digest the data. We want this to be in a data table. I've taken that data and put it in a table. Now you can see very easily what we have. So we have 5 rows, we have 5 different beam types, and then the properties associated with each of those beam types. All right, a few tips for creating data tables. The first column is essentially used to identify the contents of that row. So in this case, the beam type is IP80, and it's going to have these properties. Next, and typically, as far as the horizontal alignment is concerned, the header data, we want that to be centered in each cell or in each column. The identifying text in the first column likely to be left adjust. Most actual text data would be left adjust or center. And the numerical data in most cases will either be centered in the column or a right adjust, a right alignment. Use your discretion. So this is frequently the case of too much can be too much. Different disciplines kind of accepting of different formatting styles. And if you work for a company, you may find that they have a particular style that they use, or if you're writing for a publication as well, it may have a particular style that's used in that publication. I'm going to be showing you methods for creating tables in Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is the word processor software within the Microsoft Office suite. And the other elements are, for example, PowerPoint for doing presentations, Excel spreadsheet, and there are actually other applications as well. These are all free to you as a Bunker Hill Community College student. I definitely recommend that you take advantage of that, because in the industry, this is essentially the default. You may be comfortable now working with Google Docs, but you ought to have some facility with using the Microsoft Office suite as well. Now, the techniques I'm going to show you are, I'm going to do those in Microsoft Word. Similar table creating capabilities exist in PowerPoint and in Excel. They each have their own little twist to it, but once you know how to do it in Word, you'll easily be able to create tables in PowerPoint and in Excel. All right, so I'm going to show you how to create tables in 3 different ways. The first is to create and type. In other words, create the table and then type in your data. You can also create a table and copy in the data. The second is to create a table from data that's separated by tabs. And the third is to create a table from data, which is essentially one element per line. We call that paragraph delimited. Delimited just means separated by. Very easy in Microsoft Word to create a new table. To create a table, make sure you click Insert. That puts you in the Insert menu options. Select Table, and then select Insert Table. And then from here, you can select the number of columns and rows. I'll select 5 columns, 5 rows, and we'll use all the default options. There's my table. Now you can also use an option, insert table. This is an alternative way of doing it. You can see you can just select, I'm holding down with my left cursor button. When I'm done, I let go. So now it's going to create a table with 4 columns and 8 rows. Done. Now you can either type your data. You can also copy and paste data from Excel into this table. Creating a table in Microsoft Word from tab delimited text. In this case, I have tabs in between each of my elements of data. The tabs are shown as rightward facing arrows. If you don't see those rightward facing arrows, when you run Microsoft Word, you may need to set the options, the view options. To create the table, I'm going to highlight my data. I'm going to select Insert, Table, Convert Text to Table, and leave all the default options. You see by default, it's using Separate Text at Tabs. Click OK. There's my table. Creating a table from paragraph delimited text. In this case, we essentially have 1 data element per line. We have essentially 5 data types. These are the headers first: type, beam height, flange width, weight, X section, cross section area. There are 5 of them. And then you'll see next, we have the 5 elements of our first row. If you continue down, you'll see the 5 elements of the next row. To create the table, we highlight the data. I'm using the cursor, left button down, highlight data, select Insert, Table, Convert Text to Table. Make sure you tell it the number of columns. We have 5, remember. If you leave only 1, it's going to put all the data in the first column. It has Separate Text to Paragraphs. Okay, now you have your table. We'll start from one of the raw data tables that we created in a previous slide. And we're going to format this. First thing I recommend is to use the options within Microsoft Word to format the table. I click this little, I don't know what you call it, little cursor button here. That selects the table. Go to Table Design in the options and click this button here in the middle. You see, you have all these options. Your company may have its own style guide. If you work for a company, you may work in a particular discipline that favors relatively unformatted or formatted styles. That's largely to your discretion. I'm going to select, in this case, this option. You see, it's done a pretty good job, at least to get you started with the tables. Now, frequently, you'll want the header data to be centered in each cell. To do that, I'm highlighting that first row, and then I can click Home, and this here will create a center alignment. All right, that's centered. Now the numbered numerical data, frequently people will want that to be right adjusted. In other words, it's going to want it to be aligned along its right side. So to do that, you see I've selected all that data. I come back here, again, I'm in the Home menu options under Paragraph, and I'll select Right Alignment. And that's right aligned. Now the only problem here is that it's all right aligned along the edge of the cell. You may want to change that. I'm going to select Paragraph. I'll select under Indentation, right. I'll add some space. This is going to move all those numbers over 0.3 inches to the left within Microsoft Word. There you have it. There's our tables. You can also change the column widths, each one column at a time if you like. by moving the cursor until you get it to change to that double arrow, and we can move it again. Double arrow, I'm going to move it. I'll do that again here, double arrow. The last thing you might want to do is, what if you decide either to add a row or a column? You can come in here and select, I did a right click, excuse me. Try that again, right click, insert. So you can see you can insert above, below, and then you can insert columns to the left or right. And you can also come here and either delete columns or rows or cells.